All right, so this next section of the system of inequalities lesson is going to talk about what do we do when we're given the actual graph, but there's only shading in one section. Now that one section, as you can see here, is used to represent the double shaded area for the system of inequalities. You can see obviously there's two linear functions that have been graphed here. They're both inequalities because we know that they're inequalities because there is that shaded area. So how would we figure out how to answer this question, or how to even come up with the equations, the inequalities for this problem? Well, we're going to start by designating one of them as line A and line B. So I'm just going to come over here and I'm just going to draw that one as line A. And then I'll change colors and make this one and just designate that one as line B. And so I'll just sketch those in kind of quickly. We see that they're solid lines, which means that they are going to be, have the half of the equal sign with them as well when they are in equation form. But let's go ahead and figure out how we would start this. So let's start with line A, just for fun. How we would come up with the equation of this line. There are two things that we need to be able to come up with the equation. One is the slope, the other is the y-intercept. And then because these actually aren't equations, they're actually inequalities, we also need to ask ourselves, is it above or below? Meaning, is it going to be greater than or less than? And then also, is it solid or is it dashed? Those are our four questions to be able to generate the inequality. Again, solid meaning less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and then dashed meaning just less than, just greater than. So let's start by finding those lattice points. We've talked about those a lot this year. We always want to start with exact coordinates, not like ones that are like in half of a line or anything like that. So it looks like I'm going to choose those two as my lattice points for this one, which would be the coordinates 2, 3 and 0, 1. Now, I could sketch my slope over here. Looks like I'm rising 2, and then I'm also running 2. So rise 2 divided by run 2, and therefore, I am going to erase that from my picture, therefore my slope would equal 1. Now for my y-intercept, all I have to do is, what's really convenient is that it's already plotted for me. The y-intercept is also 1. Then we have to ask, is this inequality colored in above the line A, or is it below line A? And obviously we would look and we would see, okay, this one is below. Below meaning less than. When we use y and x to make our linear function, y needs to be less than the x value. Okay, our last question will be, is it solid or dashed? It is solid, which means it's going to be less than or equal to. And therefore the equation of this line for line A would be, I'll change color back to the purple, would be y is less than or equal to 1x plus 1. Now we could also simplify this just a little bit and take out that 1 as the slope. So y is less than or equal to x plus 1 would be our first equation of this first inequality. Then we would need to figure out line B as well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and erase mine just so that it cleans up the space a little bit. I'm going to keep actually all the same. I'm going to have to rewrite those words, no worries. Alrighty, so above or below, because I'm going to ask myself those same questions just for line B this time. So here we go. I'm probably going to choose two different points. I'm going to choose that same point, 2, 3, and then in this case, I could either choose 1, 0, or looks like -3, 0 would also work to figure out that slope value. So I think I'll actually use, the y-intercept, because that's really convenient. And then of course, the other coordinate, so maybe I might even just use 1, 0. Again, our first question is, what is the slope of this line? What's the rise over the run? Rise, looks like we're going up 3, +3, and then our run is 1 to the right. So our slope would be a positive 3. Y-intercept we actually already had calculated, and so that's convenient for us. Negative 3. Is this one above or below? Well, we look at this line, and again, we always look straight up and straight down. Never left or right, just up or down. Is this one colored in above this line or below this line? It would be above. And therefore, it would be, when we go to plug it into the equation, y compared to the x, y is going to be greater than, because it's above. This one again was solid though, so it's not going to be y is greater than, it's going to be y is greater than or equal to the x. So now we go to actually do our final equation, our final inequality for this one. It'd be y is greater than or equal to positive 3x with a negative 3y intercept. And that would be our equation for line B. And we figure this out again by doing those 4 questions, looking at, oops, sorry, this one was line B. Sorry about that, line B. And we figure that out, those 2 equations out by comparing and contrasting all the different coordinates. So we have y is less than or equal to x plus 1. And this would be the system of inequalities that are graphed in this picture.